What's going on, everybody? CaptainRoBear here. Eberron, episode 40, the after show. Ooh. Echo is here. He has been revealed.
The new face.
Oh.
Yeah, what do you guys think?
Is he going to become a god? Does he think he's a god? Is he going to ascend to godhood?
No.
It took me everything in my power not to pull what the fuck is the other character that hasn't been showing up forever, Cletus, and be like, I don't pay attention to him at all.
Yeah.
Hey man, I just want to make some dwarf bread, bro. It's gonna be all right.
Yeah.
Hey, you had your moment when I couldn't think of Dreamcatcher during the episode. Fuck my life.
Yeah.
Just went.
Oh, I have this thing. What is it called?
It's knitted real tight and it's
woven. It's got arts and crafts.
I can't delay anymore. I can't think of it. It's gone.
Sweater.
It's
knitted you a sweater.
Umber made you a sweater. It's gonna keep you warm.
So we got to go to the first bombshell. Other than getting a whole boatload of really cool items right off the bat, which Tim's item is the dopest. Oh my God.
So fucking cool.
It fits Tim perfectly. It's the edgiest of edgy items. You could possibly get. And it's fucking awesome.
You're telling me that a shadow just protects my dead body?
Literally,
Yeah.
the duality
For it.
The duality of it. Like,
It's so fitting. It's so fitting, your story and everything, and even like our
And an
backstory.
Umber gift.
And it's just it's like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Sorry.
yeah, dope Umber parting gifts. You were able to make Recoil has a little bit of Umber in him now, and the ability to punch, and has the your connection to the land, which is part of something you've given him, made him think twice about not only ecology but believing in himself. Give something for Oxy to cut through the clarity and see through the fog of war, literally with those goggles. Those are going to be so clutch.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I've already been using them. Can I get advantage on this? Is it with vision?
And Leightash finally gets a weapon. One that goes boom.
And it's a cool weapon.
It's a very cool weapon. I mean, he's probably going to use it as a bow on his guitar more than anything. But it's going to be fun to play with. That's for damn sure.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
And then the bombshell. Was
the bombshell.
Umber ever really here the entire time?
Still kind of messing with my head at this point.
And it's up for your own debate. It's everyone's own personal canon. Was Umber here? Was Umber not? And it's this cool question whenever the Red Wolf comes up and goes, Umber, who the hell are you talking about?
Of course he's here.
And I never told Adam this, and I was like, this is the becoming the god, because if he becomes a god inside of Eberron, he doesn't exist. So did Umber ever exist? Was he there? Was he guiding us the whole time?
Right.
Well, we were within these fights.
I already embraced that.
I mean, in my mind, I think he's the piece of, and Recoil, he's a part of the piece that's building his consciousness, and the part of ego and self-belief and all the other parts of man. Umber is a manifestation of that, but also the counterpoint, so it doesn't grow out of control.
I like that. That's a really good out. That's an interesting perspective.
Mm-hmm.
It's the balance of learning humanity, because Umber was always about the balance and thinking about the cause and effect of your actions. And while it was saying goodbye to your player character, it was the ascension and the fact that it would be there, and then getting to lay down that we all have an Umber card. We can all call to Umber at some point in time, and it's a tight set. It's not a big number set. I didn't want it to be big. If I wanted it to be big, I would have had to roll the two numbers on the D100. But I was like, this one, I want it to be that window, because you've just become a god. You got a lot of things to do.
Yep.
Your baby god.
17 through 23 will be an interesting set. Because also at the end of the day, he's going to be like, why are you relying on me? You need to rely on yourself.
Yeah.
And whatever divine intervention is, that's the cool part. It's going to be this manifestation of yourself. And you'll have to question when the divine intervention happens there. Was Umber actually there when it happened?
Yep. Or was it just a manifestation of him through you with your own powers?
That was, I mean, and that's so fitting because that's the whole belief. And even at the end, like, you know, when Umber like was said his goodbye, I think Recoil said it best, where he was like, you know, I believe in you, but I believe in me. Like, you know, like there is belief in what you've said, but like it's that instillment of like self. And that's what Umber was preaching the entire time, was like, you know,
that's what you taught him.
He always said that to everyone, was like, you know, because people were like, you know, I think Leightash had joked several times about like, oh, I'll just be a god. And Umber never once denied that from you. And he was always like, you know, if you believe hard enough, if you believe in yourself that much, you can do it. It's all about that perspective. And so it's so interesting to have that drop. And then, you know, it's like, oh yeah, like, well, Umber's a god. Like, yeah, of course he's always around or you know, with us or whatnot, you know, and, you know, driving us to be the best versions of ourselves, yada, yada, yada. But like, was he physically there? Was he not physically there? You have gifts from his temple, you have physical things, but like, has it always been like, is, you know, I think I said like Umbral, the guardian, you know, the astral guardian.
Yep.
But also I think you could say ploys of like Umber, you know, the god of self-belief or self-worth, or, you know, things like that, elements that's like you draw on that divinity, but that divine spark is also within yourself. So, because that's what he believed. So it's always this great mind loop of like, there's a god, but also it's coming from within. So am I a god? Well, you can be if you believe hard enough. And so I just love it. It's so freaking fitting. Sorry.
It didn't happen
No,
until
that's
we
what
were
this is
sitting.
for.
It didn't happen until we were sitting at the table, and I wish my slow brain would have picked it up earlier. But I started building the cinematic scene of which I think would have been super cool to have played out right at the top of the temple when this all started coming out. But it was just like flashbacks of every scene that Umber did this heroic moment. You watch Umber like fade from the scene, and then
that's how it was in my head, dude. That's how I saw it, where it was like, no, it wasn't there, and it was us. It was somebody else.
Right. It was somebody else that did the cast pass without a trace. It was somebody else that, you know, landed those fucking punches on the other dude's stomach. It was somebody else that did these things, and just like all these like montage of scenes that you just watch Umber just fade away from what was there and get replaced with somebody else doing that action. And it was just chills when I started thinking about that.
Combination of Fight Club and
Future.
Dude,
Yeah.
Fight Club is the perfect comparison. That's the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
I think all of us saw Umber do it, and people around us saw something different.
Exactly.
You know, and that duality in itself makes for great art. That hopefully there'll be a really cool piece down the line where we get to do it with Umber, where it's like Umber doing something, and then there's the other shot where it's someone else doing what Umber did. It'd be a really cool like double panel like comic. Oh,
yep,
fire.
Freaking awesome.
Actually, now I want the Fight Club. I want Umber doing the Brad Pitt pose on the door with no shirt, and then Leightash on the door snapping the rubber glove.
You wanna take a run here?
So
you just have Garomesh go on.
it was fitting that all of a sudden we had radio trouble, when in my mind, like the whole canon, like I know I'm gonna pull us in this fashion, and this is how you're gonna meet Echo and the reintroduction into New Throne, and I'm like, oh god, the radio's broke now we're gonna fuck up on the, like, it's gonna feel like we fucked up on this portal. I was like, oh god, this is gonna look horrible for a second.
I mean, it couldn't feel more serendipitous, you know, after that whole meeting at the table doing drinks. I mean, everything feels like it has fallen into place, and the path is very clear, at least for the next few steps forward. as far as everybody being aligned, what we want to do, how we want to accomplish it, and get us to those next few stages, which feels good.
Mean, we talked about a lot of things, and there's, there things will come up as they do, because if you don't know by now, I put a lot of layers and characters, and I like to have a lot of things. And so there's a few things that are fleshed out that, may or may never come out. But the one thing that I thoroughly enjoyed, and we talked about this, was, obviously there's a lot. Echo is based off of, many different characters, but I was like, man, I really want to play a gunslinger in Eberron, because why wouldn't you? Like, that's freaking awesome. And so it's a different type of gunslinger, and I'm putting kind of twists and spins on it. And I've worked with the DM, CaptainRoBear, a lot on it to make it really cool and different and things like that. But I will not forget seeing when Tim was the one that failed the con save. And then he's explaining, and he's like, "You go past it," and the next thing you know, you're in the castle. And there's this moment where Tim's eyes just go, "Oh shit!" Like, it's just like. But then he showed me the. Of course, you have to have it based on the Western trope of Echo. But he showed me the image he took of the low brimmed hat covering his face and stuff, and I was like, "That is fucking awesome." So to have that be the first thing, and then immediately it's 1 versus like 4 of you, but immediately is like, I have the upper hand. Like, it's like, I just was like, oh, this is so fitting. Yeah. Like, this is so good. Like, in no way should one person be that confident, but it's like, nope. Like, that's absolutely what it was.
The Gunny is. The Gunny's a bad dude. And you got to have this standoff,
Oh, yeah.
Got to have our own
like
style.
A perfect Western standoff. And then being able to kind of raise the face and you start to see the features and everything. And then, like, find out, oh, it's a Mournforge. So then, to me, it was just like, I'm curious for you guys, what was it instantly? Were you like a warden? Like, this is a problem. This is, like,
that's where I was at, especially after the radio explosion, and then having the Mournforge be revealed as far as that was the part of it. And then we show up, and then he drops that we see a Mournforged in front of us. I'm like, oh fuck, it's exactly what I was afraid of, which is that they've already come into this vacuum of power and are starting to try to take over New Throne. We're fucked.
Yeah. It was I loved that. That was such a good piece.
You got the bits and pieces together where Echo goes to work for Warden, Recoil goes to work for the Lord of Blades. 2 opposite sides of the coin. We hear the Lord of the Blades now has a train. And we're starting to put the pieces together where Mournforge wants more people like them. Superhumans. And the Lord of Blades wants more machines. And whatever overloaded the radio system and tried to overload Recoil is going out other places.
Yeah, I wonder, is Echo affected by that? I guess we'll find out.
We'll see. There's that I'm excited. I when we sat down and we talked about this, and this was actually an idea that we cooked up a while back, not too long ago, but it was like, man, I think it'd be really cool to do XYZ. And so we just kind of had some casual conversations as, I started building up the character, and then things happened as they did. And then it was like, okay. And we were like, oh yeah, well, this is a great time to bring this out. And we built it out, build them out more. And there's a lot of interesting pieces to yet be revealed. But I thought, what a cool concept. Tim does a great job of really narrating the moment of the morning and just having this different being, and I was just like, it's such a cool concept that we were like, okay, what does this look like from that side, from a different perspective. And it was so, I was already like, regardless of how I rolled, like I was already planning on committing to like that conversation of like, oh, do you have a soul? Do you have, do you still have that voice, that person, and like, it's fitting that I roll a 1, because in my mind, like, it's like, it's a blur, you don't come out of that the same. And like physically I didn't, but also what does that do to your mental, right? And I think Tim's done a beautiful job with his character to really showcase the scribbling and all of the like almost like schizophrenia of like, who am I? What am I? You know, like, what is this thing that I don't understand and I can't grasp it, but it's right there, like scraping at my brain. I love it. So I was like, I want to play with that a little bit, and you know, it's great that I get to.
Yeah.
What a perfect
it
spot.
allows like it continues like the idea that you and I had at the beginning of Umber and Garomesh revealing each other's backstories. Now it's a whole different side. Now we get to see, like, we know kind of what Garomesh was, we know kind of what Garomesh is, but we don't know what made them. And now we get to see that little window.
And then you guys get the new piece.
Yeah.
Of how we're bringing this all together. And Adam didn't know this. I'd only told him, I was like, we're gonna put you in security detail with the Twilight, because it's a perfect bridge to gap.
It ties them right into the party without any need.
Ties them into the party that we're gonna go do something. But what you didn't know, the leverage piece, how to make this all work. Lizard folk versus Flame Watch.
When you started talking about that, I was like, oh, fuck. Okay.
Yep.
That makes it easy.
Yep.
There's no way otherwise to keep the true peace down in that spot. And all of your characters know that. They've already seen those guys are going to only get large enough to destabilize the region again. They didn't care about the tribe of Jade Tears. They're not going to care about any other tribe inside here.
Yep.
And it's going to be one of those, if we truly want to do this for the reasons that we set out for, and the reasons that made Umber comfortable with the deal, then the Flame Watch has to go.
Yep.
There's no way about it.
And what they stand for, and you know, there's some other pieces there too, right? That, you know,
there's our own story
amplify.
pieces already that's there that go along with it. It's like, we have to dispose of this, and they've only gotten larger. And if you're going to stabilize the region, then it's got to be lizard folk first.
Well, and my goal was when coming into the episode was I know of a group that matches your description that has caused hell in the city and done XYZ, and I'm familiar with Recoil, you know, and so it was, to me, it was like finding out information, giving information that you guys clearly already know of, right? Or like, you know, kind of getting to know, but I felt like it was a very natural and you know, a good conversation, especially when you enter, you know, talked about the Flame Watch and the disagreements and the problems. Like, it was a pitch of like, hey, this is actively going against what your hiree is trying to build, is trying to do, and you're going to have problems with this eventually. And so we need to go handle it, and this is going to benefit both parties. And it was like a straight up like, okay, like, and if it's going to benefit me, why wouldn't I do it, right? Because I know what Recoil is capable of, and if he vouches for you guys, then, you know, clearly, you know, you've got some heavy hitters. And I thought it was a very natural, good way to do it.
Hell yeah. And it's not like it's we haven't really got into it, but it's not like the lizard folk are trying to take over. They're trying to get a seat at the table. They're trying to get a council between the power brokers to meet. And
so I think that might have been a little bit where I got confused at, actually, because who had charged the summoning circle to redirect all transportation traffic?
Echo's in charge of all security inside, so he's the part that's taken over head of security inside of New Throne.
More than just head of security for the Twilight. Got it. Okay.
Well, because there's not the thing, and that was, I enjoyed that banter and conversation of like, oh, so like you're in charge now, and it's like, no, I still have an employer, but like even the king, or the, you know, the king, dictator, whatever you want to call, is still technically in charge.
Right.
But are they really still technically in charge? And that's what this whole meeting is about, is like, look, you need us, you know, now more than ever.
Twilight was then the next largest militia to call in. to help stabilize the region.
Okay. This all makes much more sense now.
Echo is there and it's taken a job with them, but with that de facto, he is then operating underneath New Throne.
Right. Right.
Because I think Echo also sees this as he took a job that he needed, and he's getting paid, and he hinted at, he's getting dragon shards as payment, and that's valuable, but I think he also sees the connection of like, hey, there's a whole city here, right? And then when he hears that you guys are involved with House Thrask, like cha-ching, like that's a great way to get paid. And so it's like, and working towards the same goals, it's like this is like a no-brainer. Like this is what was a bad situation, which will eventually get revealed, but obviously things didn't go well, as he said, and he ended up here, and so he kind of took the first thing he could do.
You did it so well though, because you were like, dude, I'm doing this for dragon shards. I love that part. I love because we're like, oh, okay, well, no, this wasn't the only job that I could take. I didn't just end up in a swamp. I'm here for the shards, bro. And Recoil, who's been here, has come to terms with it for long enough now, is where, like it's a botched job, and I ran into my boss, and he told you it went bad, but he didn't tell you how.
Yeah.
Didn't tell how bad that we've gotten into a full-blown conflict with the Mournforge, because you might not even work with us at that point. You'd be like, these guys are tainted goods. These guys are just gonna die later.
Up, man. Yeah. All my contacts are gonna get washed with this running with this crew.
It's an interesting dynamic, that whole thing. But I also try to sew in a lot of like, I am Mournforged, but I am different, and there's differences. And again, hey, the future will tell stories, and I'm excited about it because it's a super fun and complex character. And it's gonna be good.
Something else I thought about with the Flame Watch is that also physically puts us closer to the next stage of this train piece, which is the Flying Elves group.
Valinor.
The Valinor.
Yeah.
So that
Valinor is like the next up. So we get to meet with the dinosaur riders, and that's like the conflict that's looming over on the other side. Lord of Blades is
right
up
next
top
to the Valinor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I wanted to make sure that you guys got to have closure with Region 1. I was never gonna make you be like, you gotta broker the peace with Josvok. Like you gotta suck it up. Like
yeah.
No, like he's an issue that's gotta be taken care of. And
I
you
will
let him
say
walk out of that fort that one day.
I was insanely like when you revealed how close the Lord of Blades like is, I guess, because like you hear about this enigma of a creature, person, construct, whatever he is now, as being this horrible, terrifying thing, and I'm like, oh, but he's like, he's in the morning somewhere, like way up there. We're not even gonna go there. Like this is just like kids, like scary tales. And then you're like, he's got a train and he's just north of you, and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, wait, what? And I'm like, this is worse.
we still don't necessarily know his direction. We just Oxy looked for the band that was to the north, but that could have been picking up a signal from anywhere.
Well, like Recoil said, it's not like there's fucking new train tracks to go south, so the train's going in the fucking opposite fucking direction, or they're laying down tracks.
Right.
Whatever, whichever way you want to go about it. But yeah, that dude's got a renegade fucking lightning rail that no one's gonna talk about and claim that they doesn't exist.
Yep. It's not my train.
That train owes me a radio.
God, it's gonna suck rebuilding that. It's gonna be so hard.
Actually, I have an interesting mechanic piece because I built in other items that the Artificer has with that. Do we want to reduce all of those items? Which was the Ring of Mind shielding.
Me and you will have a private conversation about how we're going to do it, and it's going to be high roll dice with both of us on it. Probably a DC that's up in the 30s for us to fix it.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, probably like a 26, 28, 30. Like it's going to be gnarly. It'll be nasty, but
just believe in yourself.
Good luck.
I'm gonna use my Umber inspiration.
Dropping the Umber card.
Please let me
You are
fix this
God.
radio divine being.
Yeah.
Just like,
Hell yeah.
You were
Excited
so
for
good with electronics when I knew you.
excited for next week on it. Love you guys. Thanks for hanging out for the after show. We'll see you later.